One. Hello and welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network here, the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Certainly glad you've tuned in. And as always, Great Southern Bank and the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. We welcome to this edition of High School Game Day Nevada Tigers head football coach Wes Beachler. And Coach Beachler, hey, first off, thanks so much for the time today.
You're welcome, Guy. Thanks for having me on.
Coach, off to a great start here, 3-0 with the Tigers, a 52-31 over Logan Rogersville in week one, a Logan Rogersville team that a lot of folks thought would maybe make a run in the conference, and then 54-28 over Hollister, who is very much improved. And then last week, a win over a Cashville team that's always been very good. Talk about the start that the Tigers are off to.
Well, I think probably, Guy, the most impressive thing is Rogersville week one, we were down 14-0, and people ask me a lot about what do you say at that point or what changes did you make? We didn't make any changes. We had really good senior leadership last year, and this year seniors are continuing that trend of good leadership. So we just told them to keep playing football. And so after that 14-0 deficit early on there, we went on a 30-3 run to take the lead at halftime, and then we just never look back in the second half. So that was one thing that jumps out at me, with that 14-0 or 14-0 in the first quarter can really go one or two ways. And fortunately, it went the right way for us. And then to go down to Hollister, who's a good football team, and went on the road after a long bus ride, and then go down to Cashville and went on the road. That's probably the most impressive thing so far, is to come back from 14-0 in the first quarter to beat Rogersville, and then two long bus rides to two good teams and beat them on their home field. Says a lot about where our program's at right now.
And talk about just the numbers. What is the depth like there, and what did you have to replace off of a team from graduation coming into this year?
Well, I think the biggest thing was our defensive ends last year, Riley Trotter, Noah Beachler, both played with great intensity and great energy. You never saw them take plays off. They played hard. And, we always tell our kids, you got to play from snap to whistle for 48 minutes. And those two did that every night out. And then one of our inside linebackers was Jace Lee, and he was the Big 8 West Defensive Player of the Year. Kind of going off the top of my head here, but I think around 124 tackles, averaged over 12 tackles a game, and just studied the game, broke down film. When the ball was snapped, he knew where the play was going by reading quick, so he was really good. And then our free safety was Ethan Faulkner. And then, of course, Dylan Beachler, my second son, was our quarterback last year. And then we lost Caden Denny, who was our wingback that averaged over 12 yards carry. So those were probably the biggest losses that we had. We had some other losses of quality seniors that did a really good job. Wesley Balk was the other inside linebacker, but he missed quite a bit of the season due to an injury. But I think just replacing those DNs and replacing our inside linebackers on defense was probably the biggest keys for us this year. And so far, we've been able to do that.
As you look at, going here into week 4, you've got a very talented Lamar team coming up. What are some things right now that you feel like the Tigers are really doing well, and maybe some areas where you feel like you need to maybe improve a little?
So my Tigers or Lamar Tigers?
Your Tigers.
Well, I think we're run the ball real well. I think I didn't realize this. I don't track stats too much during the season, but one of our local media people told me that we hit the 1,000-yard mark in rushing after game 3. So to rush for 1,000 yards as a team in 3 weeks is pretty impressive, especially with the teams we've been playing, and 2 of the 3 being on the road. Our passing game is much improved. We're pushing 500 yards passing, which and a lot of people know is not my forte, is throwing the ball a lot. But we are completing 68% of our passes, 6 touchdowns, no picks. And if we continue to throw, for over 100 yards a game, and we're completing that 65% range and not throwing picks, that's something we'd be interested in doing a little bit more of. And then defensively, I feel like we've come out a little bit flat each week, but we've really made adjustments well. And when our kids have caught up, they played really well. So we've given up some points in the first half, but we've been really stingy in the second half this year. So hopefully we continue to run the ball well, take advantage of the passing opportunities when they arise, and our defense continues to make good adjustments. Our defensive staff, Neil Barnes, our defensive coordinator, and the defensive staff's done a good job of making adjustments at halftime, and our kids have played well in the second half. So hopefully those three things can continue for us.
You're listening to the Missouri Sports Network here as we visit with Nevada Tigers head coach Wes Beachler. And if you want to know what the Lamar Tigers are doing, well, the had an interview with Jared Beachler just in front of you, so you can see his answer as well. But coach, as you head into this week 4, what are you going to have to do well? That's a home game, and that helps out a little bit. What are you going to have to do well to kind of slow down Lamar?
That's a real good question. I think we got to be really sound defensively, and that starts with aligning correctly and knowing our assignments on each and every play. They are very well coached. They have been for a long time, and we all know Scott Bailey's run there, and then Jared came in and just picked up where they left off and won a state championship last year. So very well coached team on both sides of the ball. Their special teams are solid. They play very physical. They play very fast. They're confident. They know what they're doing. They believe in the system. And kind of like us this year, one thing we noticed last year about Lamar is, they passed a little more than they did under Coach Bailey, but still a very potent running game. So there's a lot to cover there. But I think the most impressive thing when I watch film, Guy, is they fly around the field on defense, and they get to the ball quick with a lot of guys. And it's going to make it tough if we're not playing well, yards going to be tough to come by, and points even tougher.
All right, I believe both of you've got quarterbacks named Beachler going into this game that may be distant relatives.
We have the Beachler battle, I guess, here going down on Friday night. But yeah, I think both of them run the offense well. Obviously, neither team is going to rely on 20-plus passes a game, but they're going to take their shots when the opportunity is there. And so I think both quarterbacks, we don't run our quarterback as much as they do, but both quarterbacks run their offense well. And, it's pretty similar. They're more of a single wing look, and we're a shotgun wing. But the offenses are pretty similar. And so it's going to be, last year, going into the fourth quarter, we led 28-22. Then I think they outscored us 2 touchdowns to 0 in the fourth quarter to win the game, or maybe even 3-0 to win the game in the fourth quarter. We had some injuries, so we were pretty thin. We lost an outside linebacker, a wingback, and a tailback in the first half of that game. So we got a little thin on both sides of the ball. But that's not an excuse. They played really well in the fourth quarter particularly. So we just got to be prepared to run our offense well, and hopefully both B-Shores play well. I hope both B-Shores come out of the game without an injury, and I hope it's a really good football game.
Coach, as you look at your district, you're in that Class 4 District 7 district, and Warrensburg, you and Lincoln College Prep are all undefeated right now. Bolivar's in that district. So it's very spread out. To talk about kind of handicap that district, or do you have any opportunity to see those teams? And right now you may not even care about that at this point, but what are your thoughts on that district?
Well, Guy, you're kind of correct on the ladder there. It's a long ways from my mind right now, but I know that one of our local guys asked me who I made upset at Michigan, because it seems like every year we get in the district it's unbelievable. Last year we win week 1 against Harrisonville in a shootout, and then we get the honor of going and playing Helias, who was the eventual state champions, in the semifinals of our district. So we always seem to get stuck in a pretty tough district. I haven't seen any of those teams yet. Obviously, we're playing all Big 8 schools, and they're playing up north of us. Most of them, Bolivar, obviously down in your area. But we'll see plenty of them when that time comes. But I know it's a tough district. You talked about, I believe there's 7 teams in our district, and going into this week, I think 5 of the 7 are either ranked in state or ranked in others in state in Class 4. So it's going to be a tough district, and we're just going to take it one step at a time. And obviously it's important to win as many games as you can and get that first, second, or third seed and host the first round, and maybe get a host the second round and go from there.
Hey, Coach, we this past weekend, and I don't know if you're aware of being where you are, but Central had a losing streak of 53 games that they ended on Friday night. We're going to have Coach Shem Johnson on here a little bit later on today, but you went through something similar with Parkview. You broke that that streak. And would you like to tell Coach Johnson anything? Maybe enjoy this or congratulations. But I know he's been really putting his nose to the grindstone.
Well, definitely congratulations. I've been there. I think the Parkview streak was at 42 or 38, somewhere in there when I took over. And then we broke it probably a little more dramatic fashion than he did in a field goal and double overtime at Hillcrest. But it's always a big relief, and he should enjoy that. One thing that I think I probably didn't address enough with the Parkview kids is, if you remember, Guy, after that win, we went on to drop the next 6 and finish 1-9 that year. And our kids kind of, after breaking the streak, kind of had a big sigh of relief, and there was a little bit too much of a letdown. So I would encourage him to enjoy that, celebrate with the kids, but also remind the kids there's a lot of football left. But definitely congratulations to him and the program, because that's a big weight off your chest to get that win and feel good about yourselves for a week. And it makes practice a lot more fun for a week. There's not a lot of stress. So I understand how important that is and how much fun that is for him and his program.
Yeah. Thank you, Coach. Here, as we wrap this up, before I go, I would be remiss if not bringing up an assistant coach that you lost on day one of high school football practice. That was kind of your right-hand man, so to speak, Will Downing, who was retired Army colonel, and our thoughts and prayers from this area, not only to you and your program, but to he and his family. I know that's has to have been tough.
It's probably, well, it is the toughest thing I've been through. Maybe in my life, and definitely my coaching career. I've lost grandparents and other people in my family, but they were all at an age where you kind of expect those things to kind of happen. So this was very unexpected. And like you said, he was a guy that I was close to off the field, and obviously spent a lot of time together on the field. And he's got a wonderful family, and he was an awesome man. His funeral was very powerful. To have retired and acting military there speaking about him, and I had the opportunity to speak, and his close friend Doug Sanderson here in town got to speak, and it was just a powerful celebration of a great man's life. And it always seems like that everybody's kind of a really good guy at the funeral, but this was a genuine guy that I don't think anybody had a bad word to say about him. Very high integrity, very high character, great work ethic, loyal guy, a team first guy, no ego, just wanted to help out wherever he could. And they say everybody's replaceable. Guy, this one is not replaceable. We're going to do the best we can, replace him next year on our staff, but it's an unreplaceable figure, and not only for our football team and our community.
Understand, Coach, that I know you guys have gone through it, but I appreciate your time today. Congratulations on the 3-0 start, and maybe we'll get to visit here a little bit down the line. Maybe you guys will draw Bolivar in a district game, and we'll get to be on the sideline. But Coach, I really appreciate. Congratulations on the great start, and thanks for being part of the Missouri Sports Network High School Game Day Show.
All right. Thanks, Guy. I appreciate you having me, and thank you again for all you do for high school sports in the area.
Hey, you bet, Coach. We'll talk to you soon.